itself. That's freedom, which is also your fourth principle. You got 5 principles: love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice. The 5 highest principles known to man. Those together is your God. Those together is you. Okay? So there's been a lot of lip service about pleasure bait. You creating another flag. That's a pleasure bait thing. You know, that sounds all well and good, but see, my whole thing is to promote Noble Drew Ali. I have the kind of faith and confidence in Noble Drew Ali that he was a lost prophet that was sent to us because he brought us everything we needed. You understand? All we have to do now is look and see what other nations have, and then look for our own. And look to Drew Ali for it, because he said he brought everything. Okay? Now, me personally, when I first heard about Noble Drew Ali, I thought he was some kind of pimp. I did. But he gave me a challenge. He said, for those of you who doubt, you know, for those who doubt, say, go to those who know law in City Hall and in your government and ask them in an intelligent tone. I went straight to the FBI. Said, what about this man? See, during the Freedom of Information Act, when they handed out during that time, back in the late 60s, then you got the whole thing. It wasn't all that blacked out stuff that you get nowadays. Okay? And I said, they were scared of this man. What in the world is this man? This man actually brought Islam to the West because it was forbidden to even be here. Okay? Look, he never sit with any president, but what he did, he made all the presidents recognize the fact that we were a people. He went down to Havana, Cuba and made a stand down there, okay, saying that we were the nation of people. And he got back to Chicago and told them all, said, look, I've been down there, you know. Say, I got the government in one hand and stop it in the other. All you got to do is be yourself. Say, I give that to you now, but you give it back to them. Okay? Say, now you stay where I left you. Them boys didn't stay there 5 seconds. Okay? As a nation of people. This is the first time Moors have been talking about being a nation since I can remember. Since my book been out. My book's been out now, going into the third 3.5 years. Okay? No one is talking about us being a nation of people since Drew Ali until now. All right? And as a word of caution, let me tell you what's going to happen. If our people don't wake up and realize, if you don't want to take this as your flag, I ain't got no problem with it. Okay? But if you're going to be a nation of people, you better come up with some flag somewhere. Okay? And you can't use the flag of Morocco. That's already spoken for. That's the flag of your forefathers. You ain't going to fly that over here. Not you indigenous to this land. So that means you have to come, if you're a nation of people, you're going to have to come up with your own flag, your own seal, your own constitution, da-da-da-da-da, what every other nation got. Okay? And as I've tried to encourage a lot of my brothers and sisters around the Moorish Science Temple element, I'm not opposed to Moorish Science Temple, but I am opposed to people that strung up into an organizational frame of mind and holding Noble Drew Ali back as a prophet. Don't do that. You know, he didn't come just to find the Moorish Science Temple, and that's it. Okay, come on now, just think. All right, he developed the Moorish Science Temple because that's where he found us at. That was the only way that he could help us in our present concern. We were lost. We had nobody to teach us how to be. How many of you have had any manhood training lessons? It ain't there. I don't care what college you go to. Okay, it just ain't there. All right. You don't have no less to tell you how to raise your own family. Why? Because we're not a nation of people. Nations made from families. Strengthen the family structure, and there you got your nation. Okay? So Noble Drew Ali was the only one to give us the fundamentals, all the basic stuff that we needed to be ourselves, starting with our own true identity. That's how important it is. If you want to say you're a Moorish American, I don't hear the United States citizen in there nowhere. Now you can try to say you won't march, you're a United States citizen all you want to, okay? But let me ask you this: didn't you just read the 14th Amendment? Didn't somebody already make you a part of the United States, say you were a citizen of the United States government? Didn't somebody already do that? Wasn't it Congress? What? How many of y'all got this? Didn't Congress already make you a part of the citizen of the United States as Negroes? The 14th Amendment, the word person means what? Property. Commercial property, be exact. Commercial property. Look it up in any law dictionary. All right, any law dictionary. Okay? And that's what you're gonna come up with. They are still playing games with this. Okay? The little Willie Lynch thing is not a theory. It's not a joke. Okay? Willie Lynch is still walking around here. You want to see what Willie Lynch looked like? Look at this picture. All right? You want to see what Willie Lynch did? Look at the picture. You should be a little ticked off if somebody gonna pull you away from the entire human family and do what you as you will. It's like being a belly woman for the United States. Come on now. You're in the bed with the enemy. I'm not speaking radical. I'm just trying to let you know what time it is. All right? You got less than 2 years before that nationality card is in effect. I feel time is pressing on me. That's why I'm speaking like this. Okay? And I want to, extend honor to you, for coming out and sharing your thoughts with me and your prayers and things and for helping us come across. I'm so happy with my girls. 3 of them came all the way across the desert with me, 1,000 miles, gracious. And wouldn't even help me drive. And then we'll take it from here.
My name is Brother Yahuti Ani, and I have one question that I don't think too many people are aware of that they should be looking into. And that I'm going to ask you about the significance of the birth certificate being without a social security number, and then at a certain time, all birth certificates came with a social security number. It started not too far back.
I do income tax. I know exactly what happened.
So can you please explain the significance of that, please, sir?
Well, this right here is just really checking in with the census, so that the United States basically, for whatever lack of word, is under martial law. And anytime martial law is in effect, you must be able to give account of your citizenry. That's first and foremost. Okay, and you never let your subservient or your enemy know their own strength. Okay, so that's the reason why. It started back in, I think it was 89, 88 or 89, but you had to have, the minute the child was born, they had to have a social security number. Okay, and that's the reason for that. But now, they're eradicating that, they're going to give you a single identification card at birth. Okay, and also make it mandatory for those who are walking around.
Yeah, and one other question.
Go ahead.
Give somebody else
No.
Recently we had a sort of convention that was called for by one brother, Tabitha Smiley.
The covenant.
Well, actually, it was a so-called contract.
Mm-hmm.
And then it was suggested by one of the members of this meeting that we renamed the covenant among us instead of a contract with the government. I want to know significance of the fact that most of the people that headed up this organization continue to think that it's possibly in our best interest to become first-class citizens with murderers or devils. Can you enlighten us a little bit on that?
Firsthand, okay. Brother Smiley, Brother Farrakhan, I can run up and down the ladder. I have made certain that each one has a copy of my book. Okay, I spoke to Farrakhan directly, and so much so, he changed the name of his movement, his thing, from the Million Man March to the Million More Movement. Okay, and then I spoke to him 3 weeks before he went into Washington. The last time, he was in Memphis, and asked him not to do that because he's Bush's best friend. All right. Those who are part of the belay, those who are sleep with the enemy. Okay, you must understand how many. Let me explain it to you this way. Then I'll get back more directly to them. All right. They have a psychological term that was developed during the time of the Nazi concentration camps called the Stockholm Syndrome. Okay. Stockholm syndrome. STOCKHOLM syndrome. And what Stockholm syndrome is that they've discovered that under a constant terrorist pressure and the threat of death, daily, hourly, day in and day out, that a lot of the Jews began to take on the mentality and the psyche of the Germans. So much so that some of the Jews made better SS than the SS.
So true.
Okay? So I'm saying that to say that you have those who, the United States is not the first slave country to have rich slaves. Okay? But there is no distinction between a free Negro and a Negro slave. They're both Negroes. Okay? There's no distinction between a so-called free black Mason, you know. Okay? It's there. So, when it comes down to these so-called black leaders, what do you expect? Okay? Especially those that I have talked to or made sure they had a free copy of my book. My book retails for $100. Okay? To make sure they had a copy so that they would no longer go that way. You know, it doesn't mean they don't know, but see, once you have taken an oath to another man, that becomes your God. Remember we read earlier to say that beware of those who begin to serve a God that's outside of themselves because they are primed to do what? Be enslaved. Okay? So some people take masonry for a God. That's one of the gods that Dwelly spoke about, in which I know nothing. They know nothing about European Freemasonry. European Freemasonry is not about them, not for them, it's about them. Okay? So when it comes down to Farrakhan, and I'm not saying anything that I would not say to his face, and I hope you're recording this, okay? Him and who's the other brother you just spoke about? Smiley. Oprah. Who else? Tom Joyner, Sybil Wills. Who else?
Jesse Jackson.
Yeah, Jesse.
Al Sharp.
No, I didn't say now. No, I ain't wasting time on Al Sharp. Maybe I shouldn't have said it that way, but I only have so many books to give out eyes there. Can I cover it up with that one? But there were certain individuals, my people, and they're all the Moorish Americans. This is another thing that I want. The Moorish science of America is not necessary to have Moorish Americans. All right, you are Moorish America by the descendant of your forefathers anyway. When you have a Chinese, if a Chinese walk into a synagogue, that synagogue, he may come out there a Jew. You understand what I'm saying? But he's still gonna be a Chinese. Same as he when he went in, you know, you understand what I'm saying? Because you can't take his nationality away from him. You either born what you are or you not. Okay? Now if you're a German, you're a German. If you're a Mo, you're a Mo. You understand what I'm saying? It's just that simple. Some people, because they got caught up with free, and I have I have them here somewhere. A lot of people don't understand, again, you can pass this around too. They're dealing with the limitations of the more scientific dealing with Freemasonry. When the Freemasonry got into the temple, a lot of people didn't realize Noble Drew Ali himself never nationalized anybody. That was not in his power, it was not in his program, his psychic, none of that. His job was to teach. Okay? That's what the Moorish Science Temple job was, to teach. It's simple as that. If you look through any Islamic history, any of our African culture, and all of our schools, from the time of manhood training or girl, wife training, whatever, was designed to teach. You know, we are the most teaching people. We teach so hard until our people get what is called an understanding, and your understanding comes from the gift of Allah. That's a treasure. Okay, if you got some understanding, that's what Allah wants you to have it. The gifts of understanding from the treasures of Allah. Okay? So I'm just giving you that little tidbit to let you know that when it comes down to making a Moorish American, this is the Masonic idea. Masons make other Masons. Okay? Who made you? If your answer is not Allah, it must be a wishful master. Okay? So that concept was brought into the movement. Okay? No, let me correct that. Was brought into the temple, not the movement. Okay? And because of that, I myself, I'm one. When I came to the temple, the same thing. You know, I had to be naturalized. I go through the naturalization ceremony, slow-mo. Had the naturalization ceremony, you know. Yeah, you know, we had to read certain things and so much, you know, and then you'd be called a Moorish American. But then if somebody got ticked off at you, you want no L no more, you want no B no more, you're fat, you want even Mo no more. Okay, now you name me any other country, any other nation that somebody can take away your true status, your identity at will. Okay?
I mean, other than America?
Okay, all right. I mean, just take it away at a whim, you know, because they don't like you anymore. They just take it away, all right? That's called, and what's the criminal word that we learned today?
Denaturalization.
Denaturalization. That's what that's called. That's a crime.
Yes, it is.
It ranks high up in the ranks with genocide and treason and program. You understand what I'm saying? It ranks, that's where denaturalization ranks up in there. Okay? It's not to be taken lightly. All right? So I'll pass that on to you, you know. Let me recognize the question for you. Guess where you came in.
A couple of quick questions. As when you were talking about us being commercial property, I guess if we're recognized as persons, I've heard people talking about the UCC, Uniform Commercial Code, and how you're supposed to separate yourself from your straw man and all of that, but I've never heard. I mean, I've studied law, and and of course they don't teach us that in school, but you know, they do teach us the Uniform Commercial Code to a certain degree, but they don't teach it where it's practical, where you can actually get your sovereignty back or whatever. Now, now I got here a little late, so you might have explained the process already, but if you didn't, could you explain how we could go about separating ourselves from the straw man and regaining our sovereignty?
Sure. The only way and the best way, which is the right way, that's one thing I like about that father, the short and straight way, is that we ourselves must become, we already a people, we got to act like it.
That's right, Mom. That's
Okay?
the only way.
We got to formulate our own government, our own cabinet, the same way Dwelly did when he went down to Havana, Cuba. He didn't go by himself. He went down there with a cabinet, a complete cabinet, including the linguists. Okay? He went down there with a complete cabinet and said, now, the Moorish Americans are here. They're representing the government. That's the only way out from this misery, is to have a nation of people, your own flag, your own everything. It's there. We got it. We don't have to look for nothing. If we're not stealing it, it's there. Okay? All we got to do is proclaim it and be it. That's all we got. It's just that it's so right there, it's almost crying silly. All right? Now, when it comes down to the UCC, there's a catch to that. Uniform Commercial Code, the one thing that, if you notice, that trickles in this whole, it's like a weave throughout the whole system, and it's called the Intellectual Property Affairs, which is patent and copyrights. All right? Have your name copyrighted, all capital letter, da-da-da-da-da, birth certificate, da-da-da-da, right? Okay. Correct me if I'm wrong here, but anytime you place something under another government for its protection, what are you really doing? Aren't you become a part of that government? Huh? How else can they protect you? Okay? That's the reason why I told them, well, this flag right there, let me running down there talking about, I'm going to have a copy, I'm going to have a trademark. No, you won't. Because that belongs to another nation. They can't touch that. That's been tried. Okay? But you cannot, China is not going to come over here and say, look, United States, would you please, trademark this right here and copyright that for me? No other government does that. Okay? So when it comes down to the UCC, the whole government, the only way out of that is for you to be your own people. You help, in fact, I just attended a conference in South Carolina about 2 or 3 weeks ago. And it was the first Moorish conference of sort. There's been a lot of attempts at it, but this was the first one that was successful. And a lot of Moors are there. In fact, the 3 or 4 was from Baltimore, some from New York. Hakeem Bey was there. Phil Valentine Mel. A lot of others from different parts of the country, Dallas, Texas, and the South. And they were there in harmony. And they staged a second one that was going to be in Dallas, Texas, the first weekend in November. November 3rd, 4th, and 5th, or 4th, 5th, and 6th, whatever the first weekend is, okay, in Dallas, Texas. And now that's coming together, and they come together to formulate a government, a Moorish American government. It's not no whole body, everybody Washington, everybody New Wabian, everybody, it ain't like that. The only thing they have in common is the fact you got one free national name, you're Moorish America. Okay? So, some people have been waiting on the dictates of the Moorish Science Temple. That's not going to happen. It's not going to, because if you look at Act 5, which this little article, highlights a lot. If you look at Act 5 of the Divine Constitution Bylaw, Noble Dwelling, in fact, he said he was the founder of the uniting of the Moorish Science Program. He knew it was going to be fragmented all over the place. Okay? Act 5 clearly says that don't cause no confusion. Okay? Right now, I don't know how many Moorish Science temples is in D.C. right now. I've been out of it for a long while, but I know that nowhere in any one city is there 2 or more Moorish Science temples to get along with each other. I know that's a fact because I go around the country and
No, it's a shame.
I'm doing it. I'm doing it. Yes. Okay. Now I'm not speaking negative. Please don't misunderstand me. But I'm revealing these kind of things here so you know how to get your house together. Get your house in order. All right. If you don't know, it's like a baby that's crying, but it can't tell you where it's hurting at. All right. If you don't know to get the Masons out of your temple, that a Mason can't leave you to your to nationhood. That's not their job. They'll bring you up another man's government in a heartbeat, okay? Because that's what they do. But they're not going to make you bring Herm out that coffin, upright, independent, solid, whole, and intact, bearing one free national name. That's not a Mason's job. It'll never do. It'll never happen, okay? I don't care who he is. If he's a Mason, he was going to leave. He's going to lead you to that coffin, and he's not going to get you out of there. As a nation of people, he's gonna find all kinds of excuses. Okay.
So it's all
yes, sir. Ma'am, identify yourself. I think we're twin brothers or something.
It's a Kirkland little sheep.
It's on.
It's all on. So I just want to get some clarification when you speak about the Mason. Now I understand the Western aspect of Mason.
That's what I'm talking about.
Okay.
Yeah, I cleared that up before you came.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm not talking about the original.
Comedic teachings and stuff.
No,
no.
Okay.
No. In fact, in that article right there, I make that distinction: Western Freemasonry. Yeah, Western Freemasonry. No, no, because see, the original our forefathers, what we call, Juali call it Islam, is self-mastery, learning how to be what perfecting the self, so you be God. You and God are one. This is what the tools are used for. Okay. But if you don't know the spirit of that, then you'll miss it all day. Yes, sir.
Yeah, well, I just wanted to say that.
And I was thank you, brother, for your support too.
Yeah.
Glad y'all came up.
When you was talking about that, the prophet says in our Quran, he has charters issued to every state through the United States. Now, I went away here in 1979. I went on the Moorish colony. I've been back to the colony since
when I Prince George County?
Yeah. And since I've been here, man, I mean, I heard like the Moors saying back here, it shouldn't be a thing in this city where you got one temple over here, one over there, because I see right now, if he say he had charters issued to every state throughout the United States, why can't all the Moors in this city right here, Washington, D.C., come under one charter? It shouldn't have to be no 3 or 4 different charters.
That's a long story.
Well, let me help you with that. That's one. But this is one of the questions that came up at the South Carolina conference. Okay. We discussed earlier when I first started my lecture that hatred, the difference between hatred and love. Love causes you to look for the harmonies of life. What do we have in common? Okay. Hatred, on the other hand, first thing you say, well, what temple you belong to. You look for some excuse not to love your brother. Okay.
That's right.
Now, that's what hatred will do. Okay. She light skinned and her what's too short. You see what I'm saying? You start looking for little differences. That's hatred. Okay. We ain't got no business in dealing with hatred. None at all. We can't afford to hate. we can, you know, hatred is too expensive. It's too costly. Okay, we got to learn to love because look at what's happening as a result of hate. You know, we have been hated on, man, worse than anybody on the planet. If that don't tell you nothing, you know, come on now, all right? So we have to like look at it from that aspect. So when we were down in South Carolina, the one thing we came up with was that forget about the temples, forget about groups, forget about the Great Seal, CM Bay, Dingalil, German Bay, and I love that brother to death. You know what I'm saying? But forget about all the leaders. Okay? One thing we got left that we didn't tow up or somebody didn't tow up for us is our one free national name. That's what we got in common. So you stick with that. You know, if you're a Martian American, look, I got that. That's reason enough for me to love you right there. Hey, let's get it on.
That's right.
You know, let's dance.
That's right.
You see what I'm saying? That's what we came up with in South Carolina. Okay, and that just made me just happy as I don't know what. You know what I'm saying? So that's where it is because nothing else has succeeded. And if you keep doing what you've always done, you're gonna keep getting the same results. Okay? So
But I realized this along with this, I was thinking this morning when I got up, I realized that along with that me, myself, everybody, I come in contact with them. I tell them about the prophet, tell them about the teachings of the prophet who was right. And I realized that my salvation is not contingent upon going to any meetings or anything like that. You know, my salvation is not contingent on anyone or the rest of the people in here. My job is everybody I come in contact with to try to teach them about the teachings of the prophet. And I don't have to be in the temple to do that.
mm-hmm. I agree. Now, before we go any further, these are new. They're just out. I brought them with because they haven't seen them nowhere but here. Because I just got. I had them made in China. I don't want to deal with the United States anything. Okay. And the reason why I had them made is to give our people a sense of oneness. Sooner or later, you're going to have a flag of your own. Sooner or later, you're going to have a national seal of your own. So I brought them with me. For those who want them, I'm letting you know now they're here, okay? Otherwise than that, for those who always place in order, well, you know what we got to do. But this will become, now don't look around and say, when you see what you call unconscious age addicts, you know how we say that, right? When you see them run around with these on the cars, don't say Jack the Pleasant Bay, okay? Because they are taking in some pride about being a nation. Don't say nothing to me about it, okay, when you had the first opportunity, all right? I'm just letting you know. This ain't nothing against something that Drew Ali didn't bring. If somebody say that to me again, and you know, all you gotta do is look at, how many familiar with the old questionnaire of Drew Ali when it said about what the Negro was the beast with full legs, and the owl flag was over 50,000 years old. Yeah, you ever seen that?
I've seen the old one.
Yeah, the old one. Yeah. But anyway, they're here. So I want to again, you know, open the floor for any kind of question and things, and to also lay it out the fact that my whole thing. So everyone want to know, well, what is your story? You know, people just don't ask. All right, I've got a story. Okay, and I ain't snitching on nobody, but I got a story. Okay, the thing about it is that I also have a job, and my job is more important than the story. Okay, I've got a job to do. It's been that way since day one. You know, no matter who like it, don't like it, I got an assignment to do. You know, and my whole concern right now is my people. You know, and the prophet of Drew Ali. Okay, you can strip that any kind of way you want to, as long as you got Drew Ali in there and my people. It's fine with me. So this is what my job is. So anything short of that, it don't mean that I don't care about different organizations, groups and things. It's not that. But I've got my focus is on us being a nation of people due to Noble Drew Ali's teachings. Okay, as a holy prophet. You know, those say, well, he ain't no prophet. You know, yeah, right. Okay. That's why the question I said, what is our prophet to us?
That's right.
Now, if we don't make him our prophet, you know, hey, that don't mean one thing. Somebody lied somewhere. But new nations are not new. And for those of you who are not familiar with my, I just sent out a beautiful website, website. And